Let's begin. You know what's weird? The internet hates cringe content. They make fun of it, they judge it, they look at it, and they go, oh, what is this? And yet, it is still the most watched, most shared, and the most unavoidable thing on your feed. So clearly, something is not adding up. If everybody claims to hate this thing, why are they sharing this? In my last video, I said cringe content is a masterclass in content. But today I want to dig a little deeper. I want to break down the psychology of why you can't stop sharing content that you don't even like. To understand this, you have to look at two different groups of people. One who create cringe and the other who actually make it go viral. Most cringe content is created by what I call tier 2 and tier 3 audiences, and these are people who are less filtered, more expressive, and a lot less concerned with how they're perceived online. On the other hand, you have tier 1 audiences. These are more urban, more culturally aware, and more plugged into what is socially considered cool or acceptable. They don't create this kind of content, but they control what spreads. So the dynamic is very simple. One group creates content, the other assigns meaning to it. And this is where it gets interesting. Because cringe doesn't go viral when it is posted. It goes viral when it is reacted to. The real question is, why do people share something they don't even like? Let's break it down. Reason number 1, superiority theory. At its core, sharing cringe content makes you feel superior. Not in an obvious manner, but in a very subtle social way. Think about the last cringe video that you shared with your friends. What did the group chat look like? What did you caption it with? What was the emoji you used? What was the content of the caption? Did it say something along the lines of, oh, look at this, or I could never? That caption is doing the real work because it separates you from the content. You're not the one being judged, you're the one doing the judging. The moment that happens, it creates an us versus them dynamic. We are the ones who get it, and they are the ones who don't. And that feeling, that is the shareable feeling. Because now it's not just content, it's a signal. It's a signal that says, I'm not like that. Reason 2, strong group identity. Now let's go one layer deeper. Humans are wired to form groups. From an evolutionary standpoint, being part of a group meant higher chances of survival, protection, safety. And even today, that instinct hasn't gone away. It just moved online. Every group needs something that binds it together. Shared beliefs, shared language, shared humor, and very often, one shared enemy. In this context, that enemy isn't a person but a type of content. Cringe becomes that common object of mockery. And when a group laughs at the same kind of thing, it creates something interesting. It creates a feeling of, oh, we're the same kind of people. This is also why cringe spreads the fastest in group chats. It's not just about the content, it's about the reaction, the comments, the messages, the replies, the piling ons. That's the real product. Cringe becomes a shared emotional experience, and that experience strengthens the group identity. Now, here's the most subtle one, moral licensing. Because cringe already looks low effort, people feel like it is okay to judge it. There is no guilt attached to it. In their minds, they're not consuming the content, they're critiquing it. And that distinction matters because it allows them to detach from it completely. Not participants, they're observers. Add irony into the mix, and suddenly there's zero risk. Content is bad, you can just say, oh, I just shared it as a joke. And if it's funny, you can actually gain the social credits for it. Either way, you win. This is also why most cringe content is shared privately, in DMs, in close friend groups, in side conversations, because the goal of the conversation is not visibility, it's safe judgment. And when something feels both safe and rewarding to share, it instantly spreads. So when you now combine all of this together, cringe does not go viral because it's good content. It goes viral because it taps into 3 powerful psychological incentives: superiority, identity, belonging. Now here's where this gets interesting for creators and brands, because this instantly changes how you think about virality. Virality is not about being liked. It's about creating something that people feel compelled to react to, comment on, and share with others. Cringe works because it gives people a role to play. The critique, the insider, the one who gets it, which also means if your content is perfectly polished, perfectly acceptable, and gives people nothing to react to, it might also be perfectly unshareable. So the next time you share cringe content taking over your feed or just sharing something with your friends, ironically, just remember you are not outside the system. You are the system. Follow for more videos. Do this.